Was Jesse Michaels' documentary on David Grusch censored by YouTube? Well, let's talk about that and a whole lot more, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, this is still from a video by Vetted talking about a video made by Chris Ramsey, who caught up to Jesse Michaels at the UAP hearing in the House, and got some really interesting information out of him about how his documentary on David Grusch seems to have been censored. It has been deleted by YouTube, and now there is a copyright strike against Jesse Michaels, which is very rare. They didn't even contact him beforehand to say, hey, there's a copyright issue with some of the material. You know, perhaps one of the clips he used in the documentary may have had a copyright issue, perhaps. They could have contacted him to let him know, and he would have had the opportunity to take that segment out or do something with that, maybe to get permission. But no, they just removed the video and gave him a copyright strike. So is information about David Grusch being suppressed? Benny thinks that's very interesting because, you know, we've seen a lot of David Grusch content and it hasn't been suppressed. So why now? Are the powers that be nervous that some disclosure could be forthcoming and they're deciding to crack down on this? Is it a delayed reaction? Is it a legitimate copyright strike? And, you know, it was that sort of issue, a legitimate issue. Let me know what you guys think, but I think this is very disturbing and definitely something hinky seems to be going on. Another interesting aspect of the video that Chris Ramsey made is when he's sitting down with Jesse Michaels in the car and they're having an exchange. Jesse starts to give him the lowdown on some stuff that's happening, and there's a cut. And then they say, oh, well, that may be too spicy for the Uber ride, and we may have to talk about that later. So Jesse revealed something that we don't know about yet, something juicy, some behind-the-scenes stuff that may have to do with David Grusch in that documentary, or something else was revealed in that car ride. Can't wait to find out more about it. Meanwhile, there may be more UAP or unmanned aerial systems, but this time over military bases in England. That's right, according to Chris Sharp, multiple reports of more drones above the USAF bases in East England. Military jets are currently in the skies circling the area. And you can see them circling the area. And here is more information about it. New from Brandon Council, a close town to bases. Our town clerk informed me that we received no official reports from any of the bases, but the squadron leader does have a regular report at full council. So if there is anything to report on the matter, we will receive it then. So yeah, hopefully we will find out more about these UFO or whatever they are incursions over bases in England. Very interesting that this isn't contained in the U.S. This may be a global phenomenon, or we could be looking at isolated cases of spy drones by China. But, you know, we don't know quite what we're dealing with yet. But we definitely need to learn. Kristen Gillibrand wants to start shooting them down. I don't know if that's a great idea, but, you know, they are probing our military bases. Something is going on. We definitely need answers. I would like to have answers before we start shooting at them. But let me know what you guys think. Meanwhile, Chris Mellon is bullish on Arrow. He says, regarding Arrow, we all share your frustration, replying to a tweeter. However, there is increased energy within the new Arrow leadership, and I'm hoping we can get Congress to adopt some simple measures to accelerate Arrow's research, findings, and our understanding of UAP. Do we need Arrow to have more money to research this stuff? Are they going to do anything differently than they did before? Sure, Kozlowski seems a little bit more chummy than Kirkpatrick did, but he's still saying more or less the same things. He is promising a little bit more transparency. We'll see if he delivers on that. However, he spent, you know, the better portion of his testimony before the Senate with Ernst and Gillibrand debunking actual UFO incidents. So I'm not as bullish as Chris Mellon, but there you go, Chris being a little generous toward Arrow, giving them the benefit of the doubt. So we'll see if they deserve it. Meanwhile, Joey's Not My Name is giving some clarification on how he was able to verify that Michael Herrera went to that black site. I've talked about this before. I've had Mike on, I've had Joey on, or not Joey on, to talk about this. And Joey has told me, privately how he was able to do this. Well, it looks like he is now publicly revealing how he was able to track Mike Herrera to that black site. That deep underground military base. Apparently, when I asked Mike if it was a deep underground military base, he said it was. And they've got UFOs. And they shoot down UFOs. And Michael told me the airport, the date, and the time, says Joey, the meeting was supposed to occur. Here's the recorded phone call where he told me those details the day prior to the meeting. Obviously, I was skeptical, and this has nothing to do with any of the proof I claim to have. I share this only to convey that this information put me in a very good position to verify if what he told me was true. 2, I found out the helicopter Michael was on that day without Michael's knowledge. 3, I went to FlightTrader24.com and tracked the helicopter and saw exactly where it went and when. Again, without Michael Herrera's knowledge. 4, I went to liveatc.net and grabbed the radio communications from that flight without Michael's knowledge. I asked him if he remembered what time they took off. The answer he provided was within 5 minutes of the takeoff time. He sent me a GPS pin of where he was taken to. I matched what I had already discovered from the radar data. That helicopter went to the exact facility Michael told me he went to. He told me he was taken underground. I later researched and discovered that the facility has publicly acknowledged large underground facilities. He mentioned a few time-sensitive landmarks that were visible from the flight path he took. And after some digging, I found some local news reports corroborating what he saw. So I'm confident that Michael Herrera was taken to this facility. That's right, Mike Herrera was taken to this facility. Joey tracked him without his knowledge, tracked him down to this facility where apparently he was shown some really interesting stuff. I can't wait to see the next shoe drop in the Michael Herrera story because I know he's got more to tell, and I can't wait for him to tell it. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Michael Herrera is the real deal, and it's such a strange story because it implies, it directly implies that members of the UFO control group want this information out. They want people to know what they're doing. They took Michael Herrera to this black site to show him what they are doing. But it's so weird though, because they will let him tell people this, but they didn't actually allow him to take any photos or videos to prove it. So yeah, it's strange. They want this information out, but they don't want it to be super solid. It's interesting. But it is what it is. Meanwhile, Joe Murgia, UFO Joe, has been very vocal lately talking about how his dog has been ill. And, my heart really goes out to him. We've all had sick pets, and that's a horrible thing to go through. And, just skipping to the story here, if you've heard of the Bankston method of, creating reality with your thoughts, with your intentions, of manifesting reality. He has tried this on his dog, Cookie, and his dog is doing better now. Now, we don't know if that's directly related to the Bankston method being used or not. I'm sure Joe was using other methods as well. But very interesting. I've been meaning to try the Bankston method. Sometimes I do try kind of half-assed versions of manifestation techniques. I haven't seen a lot of results yet. But if you have, let me know how it goes and let me know what technique works the best for you. Is it the Bankston method? Is it some other method? Yeah. Meanwhile, Glenn Gaffney has been in the news lately thanks to Matt Ford's reporting. A likely member of the UFO control group maybe even an important member of the UFO control group, now perhaps on Arrow's secret advisory board, thanks to the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Well, here's a few seconds of him speaking so we can kind of get a measure of this guy.
I had the great good fortune during my time at CIA to eventually serve as the director of science and technology there, where I had responsibility for everything that we were doing on the science and technology front, from research all the way through development and then deployment and operations to collect intelligence, process that intelligence, use technology in the interpretation of that data or in the application of that data, as we would then give it to analysts within the CIA to do the analysis that they needed to do for the national security team.
Yeah, he took the same class on how to be boring that Sean Kirkpatrick did. Yeah, and he has some of the same pedigree that Sean Kirkpatrick does. An intelligence community science guy. You know, I've referred to Sean Kirkpatrick, the lovely Sean Kirkpatrick, before as a science spook. And it seems like Glenn Gaffney has some of that same stench to him. But there you go, there's Glenn. Meanwhile, we've got Jared Moskowitz saying that he's going to push for a select committee in Congress. That's awesome. I love it. He also had more to say. Matt Laszlo caught up to him and asked him some questions. During the November 13th public UAP hearing, you used Fight Club as an example. Well, this is the first guy, Luis Elizondo, who's come forward, Jared says. He's got a legitimate background, comes forward and says, I was forced to sign a document. Ooh, that's interesting. What'd the document say? Well, it had a crash retrieval. Well, why have that in there? And that's when, just popped in my head. Well, hold on a second. We can't talk about Fight Club because there is a Fight Club. That's right. They're not deleting David Grusch documentaries because David Grusch wasn't onto something, right? Indeed, there is a Fight Club, and you can't talk about Fight Club. He also said, I want the speaker to do a select committee in the next Congress. Congress has an oversight function. We can't just give all the power to the executive. This is our function of oversight. Well, indeed, you're on the oversight committee, Jared. So hell yeah. Let's get some oversight of these programs. Let's find out what they're doing. Let's have an entity within the government. Congress is probably the best bet for that. The select committee sounds like a great idea. Give them resources, give them subpoena power, let them do their thing, let them dig up the worms. I think that's our best bet. Failing that, we have Doge. Failing that, if we can ever get the UAP amendment passed in its full measure, we will have the review board established by the UAP amendment. So we'll see if that ever happens. But yeah, it's exciting times where we do have multiple avenues of possible success for getting some answers. Again, I'm not super optimistic, but hey, you never know, guys. You never know. Just like you don't know what this thing is, there's blinking lights on the moon. There have been blinking lights on the moon forever. I did a video about astronomers studying blinking lights on the moon in the 1800s. Well, here's a blinking red light. Very intriguing blinking red light in this crater. What is going on there? Is that an alien base? Can that be explained by natural causes? Let me know your theories on this intriguing neon red alien base on the moon, if that's what it is. Meanwhile, Jim Corsetti is asking Joe Rogan, what did the Nazis know? Did Hitler and the Nazis know something about lost ancient civilizations that we don't? And I think that's a very important question because I did that video on the Kora Hora shaft in the Caucasus Mountains a few months ago before I went to Georgia. That strange, prehistoric, man-made shaft leading God knows where. We don't know where it goes. There's air coming out of there as if it may be an air shaft for some sort of underground city. And there were two swastikas there. One was left by the Nazis when they went looking for it back in the 30s or 40s. Another was left by its builders in prehistoric times. This ancient, giant, man-made construction going God knows where underground had a swastika on it, which was very normal throughout the world, as Jimmy points out. The Native Americans were using that symbol. Many tribes were using that sign. Buddhists were using it, Hindus were using it. It meant peace and, good things. It was a good symbol until the asshats in Germany, all due respect to modern Germans, co-opted it and bastardized it. So it's really interesting that that symbol was there. Because that is thought to be a symbol of Atlantis. But like I've just said, many, many people were using it, likely because of influence from Atlantis or some lost ancient civilization that had a global impact and a global presence and was spreading elements of their culture throughout the world. Swastika, pyramids, who knows what else. What did the Nazis know? Because they went to the core horror shaft. Decades ago, right? 50, 70, 80 years ago. I can't count. But they went there back in the day to find evidence of Atlantis, to find Atlantean underground cities. That's apparently why they went to the core horror shaft, and they found it. What did they find down there? Where else did they go? Are there other underground cities left by this lost ancient civilization? Did the Nazis know about it? What were they doing with that? Obviously, it didn't help them. But it's really intriguing that they did seem to have a vein of information. And here's the critical thing that we don't have. We don't have any information about the core horror shaft or how it might be related to Atlantis. But they did. How? Where did they get that information? And if they got that information, what other information did they have? So frustrating, guys. There are answers out there, and there are people that have and have had the answers, but it is being hidden from us. Meanwhile, we got a cool UFO video from John Bell at Real Florida UFO. Everybody should go check out John's channel at Real Florida UFO, and I'll link to it below. But check this out. We've got multiple flybys going in different directions, all on the same night. One going down, one going across, one going, all sorts of different directions. But really amazing activity that John gets on a nightly basis. He's thinking about giving up his nightly vigils. So everybody go check out his channel and encourage John to keep on making these amazing, documenting his contacts, right? Because look at that. He's just got all these fantastic contacts, including one orb that struck his truck and rattled his multi-ton truck. Incredible stuff, incredible contacts. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Smash, buy some merch if you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way. Coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, it's all in the link below. Or you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars. And I really appreciate you guys' support. Seriously, guys. Thank you. Oh, also, I'm a novelist. If you like science fiction and fantasy novels or horror novels, well, I write those. So, again, see the link below. There's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.